Welcome to Forum 360. I'm Sally Henning, my co-host Diane Robinson, and our very special guest today from the University of Akron, our new president, Matthew J. Wilson. Welcome to Forum 360, President Wilson.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you here. To tell our audience a little bit about you, the University of Akron Board of Trustees appointed President Wilson just this past July 1st as the interim president, and then 3 months later named him as their regular president. Prior to that time, he was the dean at the University of Akron School of Law, my alma mater, and we know that he's an international scholar, author, attorney, authority on Japanese law, so we should say Ohio gozaimasu.
Ohio gozaimasu.
And domo arigatou gozaimasu for coming to be here today. Before being named president at the law school, I'd like to talk about this because it's pretty exciting. At the law school, you earn national rankings and a debt-free $21 million renovation of the law school, so it's really quite a facility these days. Prior to joining the University of Akron, President Wilson served in administrative and teaching positions at the University of Wyoming's College of Law, Temple University's Japan campus, and Kyunghee University Law School. Again, welcome, President Wilson.
Thank you.
And Diane?
Again, hello and welcome to Forum 360. President Wilson, I would like to begin today's discussion by asking you what has been the most exciting or perhaps most surprising experience since taking this position?
Great question. And thank you for asking that this morning and for having me here as well. As I think about, what's the most exciting and what is the most surprising aspect of my new job, it really has to be, I think, the interest and the engagement of the community. As I get out and I engage with students and I talk to folks in the community, it's amazing to see how much care there is for the university as a whole. And so whether I'm shopping, walking down the street, walking across campus, everybody wants to stop and talk about the greatness of the University of Akron. And so that's probably been the most surprising thing is certainly, I can't hide anymore, but really a good thing has been everybody talking to me about their thoughts, their ideas, and sharing their excitement about their experiences at the university.
Very good. And how are you able to take that information and incorporate it into the work that you're doing?
Well, one of the things I'm a huge believer in is to take feedback from all different types of constituents and really interweave that into discussions that I have with the faculty and the staff and the administration about what we can do to make the University of Akron an even better place, to make it a more student-friendly operation, what we can do to help folks realize their dreams and kind of take their life to the next level. And so one of the things that I did when I first became interim president was I sent out correspondence to the students, separately to the faculty, the contract professionals and our staff, and then to the alumni as well, asking them about their experiences and finding out what we do really, really well, maybe what we could do that would be a little bit better, but more than anything, what we can do to enhance the student experience that we have at the University of Akron. And so I love hearing from folks, and whether it's people that are emailing me, calling me, stopping me on the street or in the supermarket, really trying to take that and encapsulate that as we move forward into what we're going to do.
Thank you. Well, what has been the most challenging experience?
Oh, the most challenging thing has to be really everyone wanting to tell me everything at the same time. So, it's great to have it's great to have folks share things, but we're so broad and we're so diverse. A university of 23,000 that has close to 300 different degree programs, and within those, really some special things that we do, whether it's a leadership academy that we have for our incoming freshmen coming in and the folks in the leadership academy wanting to sit down and share their lives with me, which I really love and I appreciate. Or Saturday night I was at a special dinner with the students and our graduates from our Culinary Institute at the University of Akron, experiencing, the 8-course dinner that they put on as part of a fundraiser and seeing that, or, whether it's something like I'm going to do this week, hanging out with our rocket design team and seeing, what they're doing. There really just isn't enough time in the day to engage everybody at once. So this will be a process, and I look forward to continuing to find out all of the great things, but I can't tell you how impressed I have been about the innovation, the ingenuity, the entrepreneurialism of our students, and the things that they're doing really to make their own lives better, but to go out and to contribute to the economy, to the region, to the state, and even the world.
So those are the people that when someone comes up to them and says, "What do you think you are? You're a rocket scientist?" They say, "Yes."
They say, "Yes, we are. In fact, let me tell you about that." Absolutely.
Yeah. What you also mentioned the culinary
I did.
class. Could you just talk a little bit about that, please?
So yeah, we have actually
Excuse me, culinary meaning cooks.
Cooks.
Learning to cook.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Okay.
cooks. So we have
Excuse me, I'm
cooks and we have chefs and we have a long-standing program. One of the buildings that's within the university campus used to be a former Holiday Inn, and within that there was a robust restaurant. We took that over when the Holiday Inn decided to pack up, and so we have their kitchen facilities and their dining room, and so we have 24 students who come, and they're trained by world-class chefs, and they have the opportunity to operate our crystal room that's open, Monday through Wednesdays. I think they'll kill me if I'm wrong, but I think it's probably 11:30 to 2, where they are learning to be on the cutting edge of cooking and learning from some of the best chefs. And so they do that during the semesters as part of our crystal room experience. It's open to anyone. And then several times throughout the year, they'll have these special dinners where they'll bring in guest chefs and cooks from around the region and around the nation, and they'll work together to serve us. And so the event that I was at on Saturday night actually involved, I think there were 100 paid guests. And it was a phenomenal night as you had food and you had wine and you had really a lot of folks coming together for a great cause.
Wow.
Very good. That had to be an exciting opportunity for the students to be able to display their talents.
It really was. And from
Yes.
the food side, some other things they did watermelon carvings, and so they did fruit carvings,
Oh,
and
pretty.
and one of our younger students actually, out of an ice block, carved a swan, and one of the portions of the meal that we had was actually they had gone out and done ice bowls, and within that they had a beet sorbet that they had served.
Oh my.
Beet sorbet.
Yes, not something you find every day.
Yes.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it does. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you've described the activities that you have been involved in, and I understand you're active with the students where basketball would be concerned.
Absolutely.
Yes, and that was very interesting to read about. But my question is, where do you get the energy to hold all of these meetings and to be involved in so many of the activities?
Well, great question, and I think people have asked, do you have a body double? or maybe even a body
Clone.
triple, a clone or something along those lines? Because you will. I mean, you'll find me out and about. And when you ask me where I get the energy, it may be the lack of caffeine in my diet. Maybe that's part of it. But I think where it comes from really is the desire within to connect with the students and to assist them, because really being out with the students and seeing their energy and seeing their dreams. There's a big part of me that's very competitive that says, okay, maybe I need to keep up with this. So whether it's on the basketball court Friday mornings at 6 a.m. with a group of sophomore students that have adopted me, or whether it's out in front of the student union challenging students to a game of one-on-one or shooting, I really do try and feed off of their energy. And me and my wife and my 2 younger boys, we've made this kind of a family experience as well. And so having them involved, I think that gives me the energy. But we do things, whether it's attending late night concerts with the students, to the culinary event that I mentioned, helping out with the students in terms of moving into the dorms. times. If I'm ever having a down day, a challenge that I'm thinking, wow, how am I going to overcome this? I've got the benefit of my president's office being right next to the student union. And so I'll think, okay, time out. It's time for me to go and realize why I'm doing this. So I'll just kind of sneak out of my office, go over in the student union, and I'll just sit down, and it's amazing to see the students come up and engage with me, and I get to ask them about them and their vision and their dreams, you know, why they came to the University of Akron and what they're discovering. And you know, after 15 minutes of an infusion of energy from them, I'm good and ready to go and get back and tackle that challenge.
It's a communication mechanism, isn't it?
It really is.
You're not just saying I have an open door policy, you're opening up the university for folks to be communicating with you. So you're taking the intimidation factor out.
Yeah, you know, my mindset, you know, I've been in higher education since 2003 when I was with Temple University at their 3,000 student campus. And, you know, it was really interesting coming in as an educator. You know, my background had been at very large public research institutions. I had been at the University of Utah for my undergraduate experience. My law school was at Temple University in Philadelphia, which is another very large public, you know, research institution that we have. And so here I am, you know, on the doorstep of higher education, and I really was reflecting on my own experiences, which, you know, the education was really great, but I always felt like, you know, I was disconnected, that maybe, you know, folks didn't realize who I was, and I was able to kind of make it through on my own. Some days were more frustrating than others in terms of what I was doing, but I thought, you know, maybe I can change the way that the world educates. And if I can really develop a family-like relationship within at least the range of folks that I come into contact with, you know, what a great atmosphere for learning. You know, just like you would have maybe at a kitchen table, similar to this setting, right? In terms of being able to talk about anything and to talk about you know, the ups and the downs and the good and the bad, and then being able to go ahead and see if you can't fix that. But oftentimes what I've learned is it's just being there to listen. And if you can listen and you can observe, you can really figure out what the student or what the learner needs to know. And so I was fortunate going into Temple University's Japan campus, you know, to have a smaller program and to see the impact that I could have, at least initially, on the 50 students that were in that program. Several years removed, or I guess down the road, I guess it was, you know, it was up to 250 students in the undergrad or in the law program. And then I also was asked to work with the graduate school and with the undergraduate program. And so that 250 students then grew to 3,000. But still being able to have that individual relationship, the students knew if they were struggling, you know, they could come to me. They knew if they wanted to learn that we would find ways collectively, you know, to help them learn, and that they didn't need to be reserved. They didn't need to do it on their own, that we were all in this together. And I saw how the students really did bloom and how they blossomed and how they went forward. And so now I'm in a situation where we've gone from 3,000 to now 23,000 students, and we're looking to do, you know, the same thing. I mean, the University of Akron plays such a vital role in the city of Akron, in the county of Summit, in the state of Ohio, but it's been a big university. And so trying to make sure that students understand, hey, this is your extended family. We are here for you, that we do care. I mean, that's really part of the objective and the mission.
You've been tuned into Forum 360. I'm Sally Henning, and I'm here with my co-host Diane Robinson, and our special guest today, the brand new president of the University of Akron, Matthew J. Wilson. And we were just talking about listening to students and their needs, but you also have to listen to the Board of Trustees.
I do.
And so we have some questions about that.
Sure.
Yes, and I understand the Board of Trustees has set out 5 ambitious priorities for you. And what has been the key to your successes in making these substantial achievements thus far? And what's next?
Great questions all the way across the board. So, you know, if you talk about the different tasks that I have been charged with, you know, if you kind of tackle them one by one, one of the challenges that we face at the University of Akron really has been our enrollment. Over the past couple of years, there's been what I like to call turbulence. I travel quite a bit around the world, and so I think about analogies, transportation immediately springs up. And, you know, as you go through turbulence up in the air, if you've flown, at the end of that turbulence, there's blue skies awaiting you and calmer air. And we've gone through some turbulence in terms of the relationship between our administration and our faculty. Some of the things that have happened in the community as well. And so as a result of that, we have seen a significant downturn in our enrollment. We're down by 8% this year alone. And the impact that has from a financial standpoint is something that needs to be addressed. And so part of my charge is to come in and to help remind folks about the greatness of the University of Akron. Now, mind you, as you heard early on in the program, I came here 2 years ago as Dean of the School of Law. And when I was looking at law schools around the country, there were many things that struck me about the University of Akron. A very long history and rich heritage. I mean, the University of Akron was founded in 1870. You look at a university that is well known in many of its programs, not only around the country, but around the world. We've got our College of Polymer Science and Polymer Engineering that's one of the best in the world. We have some unique majors that no one else has. Our corrosion engineering program, our aerospace engineering program is something that is very unique and distinctive to what we do at the University of Akron. We've got very strong programs in the world of business and engineering and nursing and healthcare and education and law is one of the hottest law schools in the country right now. And so as I was looking at the foundation, I was incredibly impressed. I was impressed by the faculty, I was impressed by the commitment of the community and the alumni and everyone who was there. And I came into a law school that was really struggling 2 years ago. Now, 2 years later, as I mentioned, the law school is one of the hottest law schools in the country with some of the enhancements that we made, some of the areas that we simplified. And so as I come in, mission number one is to go out and remind folks that, hey, even though there's been some turbulence over the past 2 years, nothing really has changed in terms of the quality and the foundation of that product. And so what I'm doing is getting out and I'm reminding folks of that. And I'm engaging with individuals on a personal basis. That's always been my approach to education, letting them know truly what the facts are and what we're able to do. Because at the end of the day, our students are out getting internships, they're getting externships, they're engaged in co-ops, they're out getting a great 4-year education, and in so doing, they are making themselves of value to the community. In fact, research studies show that the value of a 4-year college degree in comparison to what you see with a high school degree is about at least $1 million. Yeah, over the lifetime of that individual. And so, I'm working on getting our message out, helping folks know exactly this is what's going on. The second of the charges that I received is retention. And so we can do a much better job helping our students from the start of their education to the finish, because I believe that if a student's coming to us, we need to do everything in our power to help them graduate. And so as we look at retention, I'm working with our student government, I'm working with our faculty, I'm working with the leadership, working with the Board of Trustees, coming up with concrete ways and measures that we can go after the retention and that we can make sure that our students are getting those type of things. Another thing that I've been charged with is budgetary stability. That kind of goes hand in hand with recruiting. But as you are recruiting students, here and as we're looking at doing that on a much broader scale, both nationally and internationally as well, comes with that, okay, how do you go out and can be conservative in terms of the expenditures that you are, I guess, incurring? And so that starts with me as president. So as I came in as president, I made sure that my presidential contract was probably one of the most conservative in the country, because that's what I need to be doing, is I need to be setting an example. And we need to be moving forward along those lines. Another thing to kind of clear us out of that turbulence is to really be working on relationships with the community. And so you'll see me meeting with governmental officials, with business leaders, with difference makers, with alums, with students, staff, faculty. Even this afternoon, I've got another town hall meeting with our employees. I'm doing about 2 of those a week with faculty, staff, employees, and the like. I even have a town hall meeting for parents that we're going to be doing later this week, and doing periodic town hall meetings with students as well, because I want them to know what's going on. while at the same time I want them to find out, I want to listen to exactly what they're saying as well. So, with all of these different charges that we have, and the fifth one being communication as well, you're kind of seeing the segue there. We have made great strides over the last 4 months that I've been in the office of the president. A lot of excitement, a lot of hope. People are realizing that, wow, look at all the great things that Akron's doing, whether it's student competition teams that are succeeding on a national scale, whether it's 3 Olympians coming out of our athletic programs, including one who brought home a medal, bronze medal, Clayton Murphy. I mean, no American male had done that in 30 years to medal in the 800 meters, to cutting edge research. We just had a $3 million donation that the Knight Foundation made to the University of Akron last week to help support Dr. Matt Becker and our polymer research that's going on at the university. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of activity, and a lot of great outcomes that are arising from the University of Akron right now.
Yeah, another endowed chair.
Yes, phenomenal.
Now, you've also worked together with the other presidents of other universities in Northeast Ohio to encourage funding and lowering of costs, have you not?
Yes, I have.
How did that come about?
So there's a group of public universities in the state, and we collectively get together, and we do that about once a month, and we talk about different ideas of how we can best serve the population here in Ohio. What we're seeing is that, Ohio, in terms of where technology is going, where the world is moving, really is undereducated. Studies show that about 65% of the state needs to be educated in terms of 4-year degrees to meet the market here within the next 10 to 15 years. And right now, we're hitting at a clip of about 47% of the population having these 4-year degrees. And so we've been talking about, okay, what can we do to expand access to higher education, understanding that other states in particular, you've had kind of runaway costs with higher education. So we've been looking for ways to try and reduce that, whether it's holding the line on tuition and fees, whether it's finding unique ways to maybe cut the costs, expediting the route to graduation. If someone takes 6 years to graduate, naturally it's going to cost them more, not only in tuition and fees, but living expenses, as opposed to somebody who can do it in 3 or 4. So we're looking for ways to incentivize our students to get through to graduation. But it really is this group called the IUC that we meet together regularly, and we talk about different ideas about how we can best serve the students.
Talking about students and bringing in students from disadvantaged areas, could you talk a little bit about the Black Male Summit?
Sure. We have a tradition at the University of Akron with our Black Male Summit, together with some other programs that we have, in trying to find ways to connect with underrepresented communities. And that's one of the ways that we do this. In the spring semester, we have this annual event where we'll bring leaders from the community together, we'll bring in national speakers, we'll bring in Black males from all around the area and other states as well, and they can collectively come together and talk to us, talk amongst themselves about many of the obstacles that are facing this particular group in terms of advancing into college and then graduating from college. And we know that there are a lot of challenges some of them are financial, some of them are familial, some of them are just the different challenges that we all have. And
excuse me, speaking of financial challenges, if somebody hears you and they want to get involved with university help with scholarships or endowments, do you want to talk about your Moving Forward program and how they can contact you?
Sure, absolutely. And this is one way to do it. We have a Making a Difference Moving Forward campaign that I've rolled out. The idea is you donate now, and any amount, it could be $5, $25, $50, $5,000, whatever it is, that it will be applied to a student and assisting that student the very next semester. Oftentimes you think in donating to universities, well, maybe it doesn't make a difference, or I need to have millions of dollars to do this. That's not necessarily the case. It can be a small amount, it can be a major amount, but very easily, you can go onto our website. In fact, on the front page of our website at uakron.edu, you'll see a button that you can click, and there you can learn more about the scholarship program. You can actually make a donation online. If you prefer more traditional means, you could go ahead and send a check to me, and in the 4 lines say you want to make a difference and you want to move forward, and we'll make sure that it gets allocated to those students. But very encouraged by the progress that we have seen in the short period of time that we've rolled that program out.
Making a difference in children's lives. What advice do you have for children to prepare for them for college?
My advice to my own children, having 4, 2 of whom who are still in high school, 2 of them here at Hudson High School actually. My advice to those children is work hard. Even if you don't think that you're the best student, realize that if you work hard, that doors will open, that folks will see the ambition that you have and the desire that you bring, and you'll be able to incorporate that, moving forward. I encourage children, write and to read and to find ways to serve. One of the things I think that drives me is really that service mentality, and I think students, if they look for ways to serve, not only does it distinguish them from their colleagues and their peers, but it also helps open the road to college, because they learn to work hard through service. They understand, I think, the value of serving others and the role that education actually plays in that. And so those are some of the things that I like to, encourage my sons to do is to work hard, to serve others, and to focus on, really becoming a better member of society.
You've been tuned in to Forum 360. My co-host, Diane Robinson, and I have enjoyed our special guest today, President Matthew J. Wilson, working hard to bring students into the University of Akron and making the University of Akron a real asset for this community. Again, domo arigato gozaimasu for appearing today, and on behalf of Forum 360, I'm Sally Henning.
Forum 360 is brought to you with support from Electric Impulse Communications, Kim and Harvey Nelson, Rubber City Radio Group, Akronist.com, Hudson Cable, Medical Mutual of Ohio, Forum 360 supporters, and the Shaw Jewish Community Center of Akron.